want to ride a bicycle, want to climb a tree, want to go around and do explore things, and they will stop from doing. So the child become very timid, don't even dare to go out. So this is how, at the end of the day, the child develop a particular trait within them that they will become obsessive, they will become not trusting, they will become low self-esteem, low confidence, and whatnot. And then subsequently, when they go in the primary school, in the middle school, then they actually another stage where they need to create their identity, but then the identity was actually again never given a chance to create, so they don't know who they are basically. They are quite confused already by then. So that's why it's very important, especially Nurin, as a medical student, you must try to look at the so-called psychosocial stages of development by Eric Erikson. Very important topic for you to understand why sometimes we become like what we become now. So this is the basic one. Development is already very serious. The other development, at the end of the day, if psychosocial stage development, you become again towards the end of their life, you achieve something. If you don't achieve at the end of the day, when you're about 60, you become despair. You are not feeling good with your life. You're not feeling good with yourself. So it's very important. That's how people become positive or become negative. If things that is not happening very well since young, if you have been painted with your white cloth with a lot of black, dark colors, obviously you become a very dark person in that sense, within your soul, within your heart, and whatnot. Yeah. So that is very important for you to take note. Lah. So I will actually try to get people to understand all this within our session that we have every week, so that people can come and tell us a lot of ask us a lot of questions, and we can clarify all those to them. So it is very important, the making up of a psychology of a particular people or person there. Yeah, the psychology makeup will determine whether we make or we break ourselves in our lifetime. So that is actually what it is. Yeah. Okay. I think you're recording it, is it, Francis?
Yes, we are live on Facebook and we're also recording this.
All right. Hi, Felicia.
Hello.
We were talking about how the mind is set.
Okay, great. Yeah, I saw the topic on the WhatsApp chat. So, how's everybody tonight?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Uh,
I was had
so
a I went I actually managed to attend a church service and also went out for dinner with my family in KL.
okay.
Yeah, so
All
hence
right.
joining it a bit late. So today we are talking about how the mind is set on at the early age, right?
Yes, yes. Remember Teva was talking about the first 7 years of life, how our subconscious mind has been programmed. I
Mm-hmm.
was talking about how a child become distrust towards the environment, towards the world, towards people around. So it
Okay.
started as early as at 1 year old,
Mm-hmm.
when even the mom did not really make the child feel happy within, especially even during neonatal period in the womb. And then subsequently, when the child is out at birth, even the mom was not able to create that trust within the mom and the child in their bonding. So that obviously the child wasn't so sure whether the can really trust the mom or not. And subsequently, when that come into picture, obviously, if there's any problem between mom and dad, and they were not happy about many things, especially if mom is not happy about the child because it was not a planned pregnancy, there was a lot of trouble socially, money wise, emotion wise, relationship wise with the husband, with the family. So obviously, the mother also will create a lot of so-called this feeling of distrust towards the child, because the child was relying on the mother, but the
Yeah.
mother was able to actually give the best to the child. That's how distrust, and later the child will develop what we call actually element of paranoia,
Mm.
trusting people around.
Is this reversible?
Uh, as I said, actually, it is still quite a young brain, a young mind, and the brain and the mind and the way they see things can be changed because maybe the environment should change. The people that actually manage or handle the child also need to be to change in the way they do things. So obviously the parent, the mother, the father need to be in a way counsel, need to in a way have a lot of knowledge about how to do better. So if those things are happening, the child will be in good. Once the child is in good environment, that thing that
Yeah.
has been programmed will not be
Mhm.
added much more negative program. So these are the
Okay.
things. That's why it can be reversible. Not fully, but I hope with time, with proper stimulation, with proper brain growth, with proper nutrition to the brain, with good nutrient, with good stimulation, with good environment, the child can be much, much better. And they can actually suppress the old ideas and just live with the new ideas and the new program that they have within the first 7 years of life.
For 7 years, yeah. So I know that it does spill over to their personal relationships when they grow up as well. And this sometimes that's where I think everybody has their own like a little hang up, since because everything is programmed the first 7 years of childhood, right? So you wouldn't want you even from inside the womb itself, you can really develop that. So it is a little bit difficult to understand somebody, and then to discover those traits and to be able to have acceptance and to see how we can maneuver or we can help each other to grow in that sense.
Yeah.
Mm,
Especially that particular person, even though they are already adult, sometimes they don't even understand why they behave that way, why they have that particular traits, which is rather, easily to be oversensitive, easily to be really looking at people in a very paranoid manner, or
mm,
actually having a lot of inconfidence in themselves, or rather wanting to be a perfectionist. So they may not know what really happened that could lead to that kind of a thing in them.
mm,
Maybe as we said in hypnosis, we can try to make them see how those things has been there in the form of when you are in a subconscious state. We can actually get you to relook at those things. But for me, it is not necessary anymore. We just look at the current situation and we try to move forward. Because sometimes bringing all bad stories, old stories, doesn't help much actually. It
so
will create
meaning
more
Yeah, so meaning it
failure.
doesn't help if, let's say, if I know, let's say I'm just talking about myself, it doesn't help if I know if my mother, how is she feeling during her pregnancy. So it's not important to know that. Just like
Yeah,
through a session right now, probably I can find out how I can understand myself better and how I can improve in certain sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I think
But
maybe that's what.
to be better, you also try to understand currently example like why you can easily become so sensitive with people around you,
Mm,
especially certain words. Example
mm,
like last time we talked about your emotion. Actually, you are
mhm.
in charge of emotion, but you portray that emotion easily because, as you said, you were programmed to portray that emotion easily. So now knowing that, maybe you can make it better if you get to know something about how you actually see those things. Example, right now, sometimes it's as simple as this. When you just see someone which look like your parent, that already trigger that feeling of okay, the way he look, the way he see me, the way he talk to me, it just remind me of my parent, which I don't like.
Ah, or
So
which
that
you
is
like
that.
as well, or you find some sort of familiarity as well.
Yeah, sometimes the positive element also is there. Sometimes you
Mm,
see other person, you say, "Oh my God, this is as this is the person." Actually, I've already like a familiarity or deja vu feeling. I think I've seen this kind of image, which I really prefer, and I love this kind of image because it reminds me how the good feeling I have. So this is
mm,
how people are. The mind is set in so much a way that somehow what we worry is that if it is set positively, it will be very good.
yeah.
But if it is set negatively, it will just replay. the same program over and over again.
Yeah, I think
That's
that's
how
why.
this thoughts
Mhm.
come about.
So I think that's why there is one in a lot of radio station. A few years back, I remember they always kept playing this psychologist, renowned psychologist, saying that like for ladies, like they would find the partner that actually will mirror a lot like what they what because from what they see as their first kind of male experience is through their fathers, right? Regardless whether it's a positive or not so positive environment that they grew up in, their partners will be quite heavily sort of quite heavily influenced by how they were treated or how they were brought up by their fathers. So I think that that's how we sense certain things as well, because it's not only from our mother's womb but also from the environment that we grew up in.
Yeah, this I need to just tell you all that basically a particular individual have within them, they really cherish that if they can achieve something that they really want, which they don't get it during their childhood. And
Mm,
if anyone that come in front of us will give that kind of impression that they can achieve what they don't have earlier, and so they easily will get to actually submit to this particular person. That's why you'll be
mm,
surprised in relationship, in couple and whatnot. A lot of individual get trapped into the situation whereby, as we said, the partner
mm,
has power word, and the partner was behaving as you really wish that is what you want because you don't have it before. But
mm,
you always remember during courting, during couple and things like that. Usually, a lot of us will actually try to act out the best that we can, but our real self is not really shown. That's why we call it is a make-up situation during courting and during couple time. So that's why they were surprised when they get into marriage. Only then they know the real picture of this partner. So because
mm,
a lot of time we were longing for before marriage, we were longing for a partner that we hope that we can have. For example, like we hope we have the parent that shows that kind of love. So when someone bring in and fill up that emptiness in us, that vacuum that we don't have, so we tend to grab it immediately without even thinking and without even putting our thinking cap much more than our emotion kind of a heart feeling about it. And that's where a lot of people get trapped into the situation whereby later they realize, okay, that is not the real picture of who this person is or are. So I think it's important for all of us to take note because all of us make the same mistake. We wish we had something of that nature, but a lot of people did not really give the true picture because during courting is what we call it is actually acting, acting out or play kind of a situation where people always try to give the best impression. That's why we got a Malay proverb says, pijak semut pun tidak mati. That's how nice you are kind of a thing. You jaga your words, you jaga your behavior because you were trying to win that person's heart. But
mm,
once this couple, when they get into marriage, when they already get you to be their partner, life partner or marriage, then they don't work hard for it anymore because they already achieve what they want to achieve, the target to get you to be with them. Then
mm.
after that, they start looking for other people. And that's how actually marriage get into trouble. Because after getting it, usually people don't cherish it. Before they
Mm.
have it, they will try as much as possible to really show how much they cherish it. So a lot of proverbs also mention that way, right? Whereby we say, once you lose it, only then you felt it. If you don't lose it, you don't really feel about it as
But but also I would like to maybe add on to a bit of it, like I think because when we are doing the fitness coaching and also wellness, we're helping a lot of people to achieve their results, right? To lose weight or to just get healthy, to find themselves again sometimes, to just find their purpose in life. So I think many of them, when they're in a relationship or they're married for so long, they tend, I think couples tend to lose themselves in that relationship. Um, for the better or for worse, right? So they may, so they may invest in the family life because everybody get busy with work, money, taking care of the family, making sure there's food on the table. So there is no more time thinking about themselves. So what was, during the courting and cherish moments, when those, like, you find each other the most attractive because you have your hobbies, you have everything going on for you, you have your work, you have your life, you have your hobbies, right? Have your friends. So I think, as this is also a very good reminder. It's not that it's like cheating or extramarital is acceptable, but to say that continue to work on yourself, mentally, body, mind, spirit, even though if you are in a committed relationship, because that is something that, you take out the children out of the whole formula, and the factors, right? And you have looking at each other, right, for the rest of your life. So of course we are talking about, when you're in committed, of course you want to, till death do us apart. So continue to work on yourself, whether it's like having a hobby for yourself, having your time, and that is not selfish. That's actually self-care and self-love, because you
Yes,
have to be whole as a person to be able to give. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right?
yes, yes, true. In fact, remember, in our everyday life, there will be actually a different portion of the time, 24 hours, that we need to have. To start with, it is our personal time. We call it the me time. Remember the last week that we talked about? You
Yes.
must have your me time. Then after that, you must remember your commitment time, whereby in this case, if you're parent, then the commitment to become parent for both of you, mom and dad, kind of a thing. How to be good parent, how to work together as parents. So
Mm.
that is the parent time with regard to children. And then on top of that, you also in a day you have to slot away your work time, and then your me time. Actually, you can also slot your recreation time, your the time to actually put yourself into solitude thing, to really recuperate, refresh, reorganize your own self and things like that. So actually, if every day, a lot of time now, the problem when you were courting, you were giving the full priority for the couples together time,
Mm.
because you were actually cherish that relationship as much, because somehow you, what we call, that's why when you call love, you develop what is called very passionate, because love is always about passion. And once you're passion, nothing can actually separate you, nothing can stop you. But unfortunately, after love blooms, after love reach that level of getting into marriage, somehow, if you did not cherish it up again, then it will start to actually decay. And that's when the decaying come, is when both of you are working, husband and wife are working. Now wife got children, care for the children too, got a lot of other distraction. Husband somehow also felt that actually the time that he has for the wife is actually quite limited because of his work and then because of his friend. So there's a lot of other pull factor that pull them away. So once the thing is pulled away, it's very difficult now if they did not remember about the together time as a
Yeah.
parent, as husband and wife, as a love couple that has to go on, continue cherishing the love until death do they part. So that kind of a
Mm.
thing.
Yeah. The emotional banking account during
Yes, yes,
courtship, during good times have to be very thick. So that during bad
yes.
time, the emotional banking account will still have to can pay the equivalent, the balancing equilibrium.
No
So
deficit.
very interesting. Just for those just joining us, we just now we're having a preliminary discussion with Professor Dr. Mohamad. So we are going to give you a complete a series, a 4 series session. Okay, the kind of so-called workshop is enough for you to able to handle or to understand certain situation from different stages of life. You know, during courtship, and then during marriage, after then parenting, and then the offspring care and children. So that will complete the whole thing very good. So I encourage you guys to stay tuned and help us to you know, invite your friends, because I think this is a very important subject, and we lead. You can lead life in two ways. One with blindfolded, and the other one with a bit of in a no. Then I think it will make a lot of difference. Yeah. So this is part of the
I
so-called
think,
social responsibility. Yeah.
I think Francis, Felicia, Noreen, and all the listeners, I think it's very important to always put ourselves on the right track, because every time we fall off track, then we are quite we feel hurt. Actually, we feel bad. That's why we always have to bring ourselves back on track. So the reason why we want you to be on track, because once you're on track, you will actually achieve your goal. You will reach a good end because you are on the right track. You see, if you actually fall off your track, you have to bring yourself back to track and then walk again and then fall off track. It takes a long while to reach where you really want to reach your goal. So that's why having a good knowledge, having a good skill, and most important, have the right attitude. And once you have the right attitude, everything will work very well. Because only with right attitude, you will look for knowledge. Only with right attitude, you will develop your skill. With right attitude, actually, you go very far. Remember, attitude determines altitude, the level that you can go so high with the right attitude. So that's why I think we need to now, from now on, we need to actually look into ourselves. As I said in my writing there in a WhatsApp group, with regard to how our mind is set. So earlier I was talking about the first 7 years of life, how we become distrusting to the world, later how we become obsessive or perfectionist in nature, later we become low self-esteem, later we become low self-confidence, later we become role identity crisis and identity confusion, later we become not a person who have integrity and feeling satisfied with our life, and later if things does not go well in our psycho-social development, we become despair in our later years at the age of 60. We doesn't feel good about life with us. So that's why it's very important. If you all want to know about this, maybe you can look up on this topic. The topic is psycho-social stages of development by Eric Erikson in psychology book, or you can even Google up, look at that, Eric Erikson, psycho-social stages of development from 0 to the end of your life, 70, 80 years of age. That will be, I will talk to you all about that as a basic psychology in psychosocial development.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay.
Yep.
Hi, Shakir, how are you?
Hello, good evening, Prof. Yeah,
Good
I'm fine.
evening, my friend
So,
Dr. Shakir from Quest
yeah,
University.
Hi, Dr.
yeah.
Shakir.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
I'm Shakir here. So this is the first time I joined. Just few minutes back, I joined and connected a little bit delay to hear me because I find it difficult to connect with the audio. Okay, now
Ah,
I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm hearing, but I misses Prof. Mohammed's precious speech. Actually, is very close to me. So it's nice to see all the guys here. Thank you so much to connect me. So
Yes, and
You're most
Dr.
welcome.
Shakir is also a psychiatrist with
yes,
Quest University in
wow.
Ipoh.
Nice.
Okay.
So
So
we,
thank you for joining us.
you are most welcome, Prof. I would be with you for the future, inshallah.
Okay. We were talking about running a particular e workshop on psychosocial development and development of a couples and marriage life and parents and subsequently children's life psychology.
Yes, Prof. I know it's very valuable topics for every one of us. Also, we should try to spread this group more among our community, our local, so they can be enriched with these types of speech. So, in future, we think we shall spread our community here.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope you can join us every week, every Saturday, so that you can always give a
But
lot
Prof,
of input.
it is the Saturday night, so sometimes we are busy with some of the personal matters.
Yeah, Saturday night.
No, no problem. No problem. Only when you got time. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Okay,
worry.
Prof. I could try to manage my time. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
I think it's not easy for people, especially with family, and then you have like kids, and then your family, and you have like gatherings and things like that. So yeah, everything you have to balance, and also time management. I think but we do what we can. We do what we can.
Okay. So thanks.
We also got recording every time we have a session. So those who miss the or during this session can always look at and listen to the recording later.
Yeah, we have it on Facebook Live, and also we also have it on the YouTube. So I will actually upload it on YouTube, and we can actually view it during time when we are more free to listen to. So we don't miss out all the good things that are shared on the platform. And so on this chat we have Dr. Siva. Now he's a little bit busy with his hospital errands, and we have Prof. Mohamad, as our psychiatrist, talking about mental health. And then we have Coach Francis and myself to talk more about fitness, wellness, and all things related. So we cover basically the body, mind, spirit. So mentally, physically, and also in terms of overall wellness. So these are the place. This is the platform that we have people. They can ask questions, and or not. Also, we get questions from friends and clients, and we can actually discuss them on this platform, so that we can continue to create a more well-informed community, and also to educate. That's our mission and vision of this whole Saturday night session.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that we want to actually talk about?
Any questions from the floor? Maybe we have one or two questions before we close out. Yeah, we can keep it short and simple. So 30 minutes to, we are hitting about 30 minutes. So 30 minutes to 1 hour session, but then we can cut short as well, so that we can have more topics that we can discuss in the further. So we already discussed about childhood development, the first 7 years, and how we can spill over to later when they grow up adult and in their personal relationship, and how we talk a little bit about courtship, and also how things are when you're in a committed relationship and things like that. So it's also like a sequel to our last week's topic by Mr. Tawa, right? He mentioned about having personal me time, and that's how we see the importance of that me time when it comes to continuing to invest in yourself, and so that you can give yourself. You cannot give yourself when you don't have anything else, so you cannot just sacrifice, right? So it's very important to fill yourself up, in that sense. So you, as a whole, you can complete each other, not like you find you're always a missing void, always a missing thing, right? And then you keep looking for the next best thing. I think that is a very common modern problem, right? So are there any questions?
Maybe.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have a few questions to Dr. Mohamad
Yes.
regarding the children such as psychiatric issues. Can I
Yeah.
ask you
Yes. Yeah.
something? Okay,
Sure.
sir.
Sure.
So my first question is actually one thing. It's a very common things nowadays, Prof. Guy. The children, they are a little bit addicted to the internet and the video games. So it is very common issue. Actually, maybe it was discussed, but actually, I am also struggling the same types of issues in my home also. So I would like to give me some details regarding that issue, Prof. Mohamad.
Okay. So with regard to this so-called behavior behavior in a family need to be uniform and standardized. If actually you want your child to be disciplined enough in use of all these gadgets and tools, so actually everyone in the family also have similar time on when and how they can use all these tools. Example, like if it is a family time, eating, communicating, relating to each other, then every other tool that cause distraction has to be put away, put aside. Uh, and if that is the case, that means the child will actually follow everyone as a standard ruling in the family. So we cannot give the child that so-called the room to just having their own autonomy and doing things that we believe they may overdo it or actually misuse it. So we have to be actually quite firm about it, but to be in that sense, the child only will understand you if they know that whatever you do actually based out of love, out of care, out of actually you put the child interest within you all. So if you already have got that kind of element, actually it's easy to enforce it in the child. But if it has never been there, example, like all this while we were ignoring the child, and then subsequently when we want the child to toe into the line as what we want them to do, but on top of that, we did not show a good example. So I believe that the child will become confused with how we give direction. So we have to be very careful about that. So the first thing I would say is that why don't we sit together, mom, dad, and child, we put things in perspective for the family. Example, okay, no TV time during makan time. No phone time during makan time. Phone time and gadget or no games time is only a particular session that is allowed, maybe 1 hour or so at what time it is. And then make sure that everyone sleep at the same time. At 10 o'clock, everyone goes to sleep. That means if ever it is, if you are still awake, you cannot push a child to sleep because the child says, you are awake. How could I go to sleep? You know, so the family must have a particular standard to actually run it, so that the child will follow you. Unfortunately, for some family, some parent, what happened is that they ask the child to do what they want the child to do, but they never show how it is done by themselves. So that could be a big issue here. Because the child says, I won't follow until you do what you want me to do. You walk the talk first. Only then I can walk the talk what you tell me to do. So this could be the issue. The other thing is so-called disciplining, limitation. Most important is be careful about the communication style that we use, the words that we use, how we say it out, how we actually trying to communicate with them. If ever they sense that we are actually antagonizing them, if ever they sense that we are actually in a way not loving them, or in a way rather punitive in nature, then actually they will start to cover themselves the big thick wall that they won't even listen to us. And that they start the beginning of what we call defiant, or child can be very oppositional against us as parents, because we actually usually impose on the child what we want them to do, but they don't want to do, then it becomes opposition. They will go against you. But we can only guide
That's
we can only
dangerous.
guide the child what we want them, how we want them to do things. We show them the way. We cannot force them to do. If they don't want, that's where the oppositional defiant kind of situation will come in. I mean, the child will go against you. They may be passive aggressive. The child may actually follow you, but in a passive way, but they become aggressive, and they go into the room, they break things, they don't really study, then they become passive aggressive because the child will not happy. So be careful about those situations. So I guess most important about how to develop a child is, one is to show that you love the child. Two is the way that you say things and the way you act on it, so that the child know that actually it is all out of care, out of love, out of concern, out of actually the best interest of the child rather than your interest. So the child must have that message. And the third thing is that it must be done standard wise. Mom and dad must actually support each other. Mom and dad cannot sabotage each other. Mom and dad must work together in that sense. And the child see that, oh, okay, everyone in the house is doing the same thing. So that is very important. Yeah. I think lastly also give the child the room to be themselves, but always tell that everything that is done, everything has a time frame, everything has limitation, everything cannot go beyond what is not good for them, right? Similarly, what is not good for us is not good for them, so we show them the way. So that I think what parenting is all about, and very important for us to take note. We need to have the knowledge, and we need to have some skill to actually go on with the communication, with the relationship, and whatnot. Yeah, I hope Shakir, in a very brief nutshell, that helps you
Okay,
to
thanks. Thanks, Prof. Mohamad, for your valuable comments and then our information. But one thing, actually, these children developed these types of behavior, especially during the MCO period. We gave them some types of autonomy during that period because all were online, all teaching. So during this period, actually, they were somehow was close connected with that behavior. But now, a little bit they developed, and also one thing I understand that we also have to restrict ourselves.
yes, yes,
You have to restrict ourselves. This is the another issue. So we
yeah,
are also so much involved in the social activities, Facebook every day, every time we are using WhatsApp. So we have to
yeah.
restrict. Understand?
True,
Thank you,
true.
Prof.
Thank you. Hopefully, it will help you to see how the thing is. It's not easy. It's not easy, especially when something is already there. To undo it, it won't be that easy. But if it is a child, you can actually get close to the child, but actually get more communication with the child, do on a personal time with the phone, get them to know who you are, get them to like you, love you as much, and you show your love to that particular child or the other children too. And so each and everyone has their own special time with you. Each and every one of them will develop how they actually longing to be with you. And then at the end of the day, they will as the best guide, as the best coach, as the best teacher, as the best father, because they already know who you are.
But actually, we should be cautious regarding some issues that these types of children used to do some emotional types of blackmail, emotional blackmail. So we must
Yeah,
be careful regarding that. Because we love our
that's what.
children excessively much. Sometimes we show our they are more adorable to us. So
True.
chi-
For
chi-
example, like
chi-
you remember some children when they go out, they will show tantrum, and we
tantrum.
give in to the tantrum. So
Uh,
that is called emotional blackmail. So be careful about how they use us, how they use their grandparent, how they put us, mom and dad, into loggerhead situation, fighting against each other. They are so clever doing that. So the child is
so
actually
clever.
a very, very clever person.
I think this will be very beneficial for parents or new parents,
Yeah,
or and then to learn about this, because it's not their fault. They are, of course, they are everybody. When I think when we are born into this world, we want to be possessive of everything. Everything revolves around us. I think that is the psychology behind it, right?
yeah,
And yeah, it's normal that we want 100% attention from the ones that we love. Hence, the emotional blackmailing. I think Coach Francis has some few good tips on that, because maybe because of his experience dealing with listening to a lot of people with different parenting skills, and also with our clients, because we help them to deal with their time management, and also how they can get enough of sleep in order for their health to be good. So sometimes children can get in the way. So how do you talk to them about it, Coach Francis?
Yeah, I think we need to do some intervention, add on other activities that is not prominent. For example, outdoors, especially water therapy is very important. Swimming is very important. Reading is very important. Read to your kids, very important. So this like bedtime story also very important. So I think what Prof is correct saying is I agree with that. You must have a uniformity. I've seen parents, they in a recreational club, then the kids were talking to the father. The father was reading the newspaper, and the teacher, Daddy, come enjoy, what happy, yeah. So you see, then they miss out a big chunk because your child during this young age, you don't get the right bonding. Then when they grow up, you have problems. Then they will not tell you the secret. They will surprise you. So I think look at a bigger, so-called broader spectrum, balance up everything. So sometimes we are too busy in our work. We also miss out a lot of things. So I think the me time is very important. Recreational time is very important. So I think Prof has already have in the pipeline. We will lead you guys from courtship to parenting. So a lot of things you will learn along the process. So let the testimony, the stories come out, then we can even more become more enlightened. So there's no fixed rules and fixed way of doing it. But sometimes we have to observe and be mindful of things is happening. At least you know the game. So you must not take side. Not who is right is what is right. You see, and we cannot tolerate bad behavior. So that's very important. So we need to correct with love. I think very important. As a TLC, tender, loving care. Thank you. Over back to you, Felicia.
Yeah, maybe next week I can also ask Prof on some when especially during courtship or getting to know each other, there are certain boundaries that each individual should set. I think most of us get into trouble because we don't know what we want, or we don't set. There's certain values and principles that you have, but then because of the fear of like showing that vulnerability to the other person, you just want to show the good side, right? So how do you set boundaries in order to see whether that partnership or that relationship will work? I think that will be interesting as well, because you wouldn't want to jump into something and say, love is everything, and then you hit the reality, right? Like what you say, you go into the reality of everything. It's not just all love and stars, right? So I think learning how to set boundaries will be something interesting for, I think, younger people like me to learn as well. Yeah. So yeah, maybe we can ask you more about that next week.
Yeah, I just want to add that I usually use this phrase, love is not blind, love is psychosis.
Psychosis.
Love already become...
I agree with you. You see, a lot of people don't know the psychology behind why happening. You can enlighten us.
You can't reason out with a person who is in love already. They live based on the wrong premise. Example, the premise of look, the premise of things that the person has. That could be a very narrow-minded look at things. But at the end of the day, before you can really give your full love, you must understand that person fully. So actually during courtship is the best time to actually try to test that partner out of all the things that you think you could actually learn from the partner, because the partner will try to hide as much as possible about his real self. But you can see sometimes the partner at the end of the day will not really fully respecting you. The partner will somehow has what we call more toward the selfishness rather the selflessness kind of attitude. The partner may actually show that he's not really a kind person, because only with you he appears to be kind, but with people around him he's not kind. So these are all telltale signs actually. But unfortunately, because as I said, love is blind, or love is already become psychotic, you were not able to pick it up. But actually, courting is very important before you really jump into that level further than just courtship, knowing each other. And then it's very difficult to then, take a step back, because you already get stuck with each other.
How long does it take?
Yes.
How long does it take to know a person, in your professional opinion?
Okay. It's as simple as this. Okay, I've got quite a number of time when I ask this question to a guy. Okay, a guy, how can you make a girl get stuck with you. That means the girl don't even dare to get out from that relationship. So that's why the guy would say that if I actually quite immediately I want to be intimate with the girl. So the girl now felt that already he has to be this guy. So just imagine a guy, if you were to go out and the guy is not respecting you and trying to take advantage of you, then you know actually the guy is actually taking or dominating over you. And it's very difficult to get out of that situation anymore, because once the guy already dominates over you, then you may actually get stuck with him. Even though you want to get out, it is not easy anymore. And you can see that telltale sign, because a lot of time they may initially, in that so-called period where they want you to be with them, they give everything into what you want, but subsequently they take over and dominate upon you. So please be careful, ladies. If ever a guy who is a sweet talker and ever a guy who show that actually is not, he's actually not respecting you, he's more of a self-importance, selfishness is there, then you better watch out, because that person might not be the best person for you later, because it only will come up more and more towards the later part of your relationship. Yeah. And especially when the guys start to talk to you in a rather ill-mannered way, can get easily angry with you. That is already showing even before marriage, because this happened when actually quite a number of cases in violence, domestic violence, domestic abuse. We already noted that we asked the client, we asked this victim, when do you know your partner and how was the relationship? The partner already have shown all these elements, but somehow this girl, and I usually ask this question, especially if that girl is a university student, you know, graduate in a way. I said, how come you cannot get out of the situation with this guy during the courtship? Usually the answer is quite ridiculous. The answer says that, who wants me if the other people all already noted that I'm so close to this guy and going everywhere with this guy, so I'm no more laku for other people, because they thought that I'm already being used by this guy. So that is always a trap. Be careful about that. So before you can really subject yourself, submitted to a guy, make sure that you must always preserve your dignity. You must always preserve yourself in that sense. You know, care for yourself. Don't easily get manipulated and whatnot. And to prevent this problem of actually easily being manipulated, I usually use this motto: always listen with one ear, spare the other ear, so that you don't get easily being manipulated by sweet talker.
Yep.
So how fast? It all depends on how good that guy partner that you have to get you into the trouble. It all depends on his skill to actually get you into the trouble. It may be very fast, especially if you're in desperate situation. Right? Example, like for those who are somehow desperate enough to find a boyfriend, so they will just simply hook and they will get stuck. So they can be very fast. I mean, that's how I look at it from those years of seeing clients that are having trouble.
Yeah, I think most important is that you have to have your own support system, have a clear-headed, make clear-headed decision. I mean, we always say use your heart, but don't forget to use your head as well. And yeah,
Your head is much more important than. I think the best actually, you already have ever ready coach at home. That is your mom and dad. Then you have actually other coach, maybe your best friends, maybe your teachers, maybe your mentors. Somehow you decide somebody can be your mentors. So those are the best coach. If you give them the idea that what is going on, you share with them, and that maybe can help you better. Don't keep things to yourself, because always remember, two minds is better than one.
Yeah, they always say two pairs of eyes is better than one pair of eyes.
Yeah. It's very dangerous.
Four eyes.
Huh?
Yes.
It's very dangerous to be secretive in certain things.
Always remember that we are not expert in everything.
Mhm.
So sometimes in love, in courting, in courtship, in marriage, we are still learning. So that's why only age and time and experience will make you a wise person.
Mm.
So if you are still inexperienced, always remember that. Don't think that you know the answers best. But unfortunately, as I said, when love is there, so obviously when love is in the air, everything tends to be diluted in a way.
I think this will be a very good topic maybe next week as well, continuing. So thank you so much everybody for being on the call. And yeah, we hope to continue this session. Let's see if Dr. Siva can get back on next week. Then we see we have any other updates on also the health part of the medical side of things as well.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
I hope Mr. Pava also can join us in,
Yeah.
and our Datuk Norain, and maybe we can actually send some kind of early notices to them so that they can always join, and our discussion become more and more,
Yep.
how should I say,
Yep.
interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good.
So next week I think would be a day before Merdeka, right? So let's see if we are on for next week, or we will announce it. We will give everybody an earlier notice, and then we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Sure.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you so much, everybody. So
Okay,
we hope to see everybody again, and then invite one more friend to the call, and then to everybody watching on Facebook, thank you for staying tuned on our platform. Ask the experts from body, mind, spirit, and then today we covered so much about child psychology to a little bit spill over to being adult, and then into personal relationship with a bit of courtship and also parenting. So thank you so much for everybody, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.
Yep.
All
Okay.
right.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Bye. Bye.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
weekend.
Bye. Good
Have a
night.
good
Nice weekend,
Have a nice weekend, everybody.
everybody.
same